Shabbat Shalom to the Israelite brothers and sisters scattered to the four corners, giving all praises and glory to the great I Am. So we all know that the Most High is going to fulfill his prophecies one day. We know that all the things that are taking place and that are getting ready to happen and that hasn't happened yet but will happen will come to pass. And we will receive our power. It says it throughout the word of the Most High. And here's one of them. Enoch chapter 95 and verse 3. The righteous shall not fear the wicked, because Elohim will again bring them into your power, that ye may avenge yourselves of them according to your pleasures. Let me read that one more time. The righteous shall not fear the wicked, because Elohim will again bring them into your power, that you may avenge yourselves of them according to your pleasure. Now, before you all get excited with vigorous joy and happiness, there's a lot of house cleaning that the Most High is going to have to do with the brothers. That's right, with the men. Because the Most High has called us as the men to be the priest, but we have completely stepped away from that. But most of us in this truth know the reason behind this. Our men have been totally emasculated through media, news outlets, you name it, and especially Hollywood. You look at Hollywood today and you look at how they're doing our black brothers. They're not doing it to any other race. They're just doing it to our black brothers. And you see how they do the commercials, where they always put a black brother with somebody else, or Israelite brother with someone else other than their own women. Again, they don't do this with other races. You see mostly Jakes with other nations or with other beasts of the field, as the Bible calls them. But this is what they do. They sit, they plan, and they emasculate the men. Now, this is not something that just happened overnight. This thing has been in the works for over 100 years, ever since the movie industries came out, how they constantly emasculated the men in all sorts of manner. It wasn't always like this. You go back to the 50s. These brothers were strong. They led their families. They were the priest of their homes. Even though they wasn't in the truth, they were into Christianity, but they were the priest of their homes. A true so-called black community. And when I say black, you all know what I'm talking about. We're talking about our people. We're talking about Jakes. We're talking about Israelites. Now, the roles of the black man back in those days was sound. It wasn't perfect, but it was sound and it was accurate. Now, fast forward today, you don't see nothing like it used to be back in the 50s and the early 60s, before the civil rights came and destroyed everything. Everything. Like I said, it wasn't perfect, but we were close to rising up as a people. It just wasn't time yet. Some of you may be saying like, well, we could have taken over the world back then. We probably could have. Maybe the Most High was testing us to see if we would sell out. Well, we did. We sold out. The word says that the Most High is long suffering. Now, what does that exactly mean? Long suffering. Well, just like it sounds, the Most High has put up with our BS for so long. And we're not just talking about this generation and the generation before us. We're talking about from the beginning, brothers and sisters. We're talking about the time that the Most High brought our forefathers out of Egypt unto this present day. Look how stiff-necked we've become. Look how rebellious we've become. We totally reject Torah. We totally do everything that's contrary to the will and ways of the living Elohim. and you wonder why we're in this condition that we're in. One of many prophecies that hit its mark comes from Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 12. It says, "As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them, and women rule over them. O my people, they have which led thee caused thee to err, and destroy the ways of thy path." If that's not us today, then I don't know what is, because this is the life that you see our people living in this current time. You didn't see masses of people into homosexuality and lesbianism like you do now. It's crazy. Back in the 50s and 60s and prior to that, you didn't see that stuff in our communities. If it was, they were very quiet about it, and it was very under the table. It was on the low, so low that the fear of them even coming out scared them. So you didn't see it, but now it's like you see masses of our people just into homosexuality and the lesbianism and you name it. And that's totally contrary to the word of the Most High. The Most High gave woman to man to procreate. He didn't give man to man. That's the way of the heathens. That's their thing. Why do you think the Most High never wanted us to join with them? Why do you think that he made it clear that we should not marry unto them? We should not follow their ways. Learn not the way of the heathens. Choose none of the way of the heathens. And envy not thou the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. The Most High made it very clear. So we can't go blaming Hollywood. We can't go blaming society. We can't go blaming our enemies, because at the end of the day, we were the ones who made the decision. Nobody held a gun to our head. We made the decision to go contrary to the law of the Most High and to his ways. Now, why am I saying all this? It's because, brothers and sisters, we got to get it together, especially the men. We got to get it together, because if we don't, not only will we fail ourselves, but we will fail our women and our children. Now, you may be saying, well, how can the men lead if we're in this condition? How can the men lead if we're constantly being incarcerated and put in prison, locked up behind bars? How can we get out of that? Well, in order to understand that, you got to ask yourself this question. How in the world did we get ourselves into it to begin with? So we got to go back to when the law was given. The first two commandments. Thou shalt not have no other Elohims or gods before me. That is very clear. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. So, brothers and sisters, this whole thing, the first two commandments, was a doozy for our people, because these are the two very ones that we constantly kept breaking unto this very day. So you want to know how we're going to get out of this? You know how the brothers are going to get out of this? You're going to have to stop chasing after white women. You're going to have to stop chasing after these other beasts, these other nations. You're going to have to start loving your own people, loving yourself, loving your black skin. And many of you brothers, because I get emails all the time, and with brothers who are already married to white women or other nations of women who have just now coming into this truth. And I'll tell you, brothers, the only thing I can give you is the word. When you read throughout the word, it's very clear. When you read the two last books of Ezra, it's very clear. It's like we try to make every and any excuse. There is none. And this applies to all of us, brothers. Says no one is exempt. No one is exempt from the laws of the Most High. No one. All right? There's a natural order that takes place. You look at the animal kingdom. There is a natural order. You don't see animals behaving like we do as far as race mixing and mixing with other species. You don't see that. We're the only ones that do that. So the first two commandments was a doozy for our people because we just could not get it right. So again, the way we get out of that is that we're going to have to turn from anything that's contrary to the Torah and to the ways of the Most High. We're going to have to repent, brothers. The problem with the men today is that we have too many girly men. Too many girly men. Even in this awakening, you can see, you look at all these channels, you look at all these brothers, how they argue back and forth, getting all in their emotions all the time, acting effeminate and all kinds of stuff. It's sad. It really is. Because we as the brothers, we have really lost our ways. That verse I read in Isaiah, women shall rule over them. You look, they knew exactly what they were doing. You take the man out the home. That's the power right there. That's the power. That's why I named this lesson the way I named it. When the true men of the Most High receive power. Because the powers that be, at least they know how powerful the brothers are. They know how powerful the so-called Jakes are. They know this. So like I said, they sat down in their think tanks and they planned this thing out for 100 years in advance. And this thing, they sat back and they waited patiently. Starting off with the civil rights, they knew that we would cave in, sell our own businesses, and then start trying to join in with them. See, majority of our people didn't want that. But that's because of these white liberals. They were the ones who were really pushing it and going behind Martin Luther King, using him as a pawn to get our people to submit. That's what that was all about, brothers and sisters. But a lot of our people didn't want that. They knew what was going to happen. They knew what was going to be the end game if we got suckered into civil rights. And look at us now. And so, again, we make the decisions. Well, we suffer from the decisions of our parents, of our forefathers. And that's just a reality, brothers and sisters. That is a reality, because when you make that decision, what you're doing is that you're crippling generations after you. And that's why when the Most High told Saul to kill those nations, he meant it, because the Most High was looking out for us for thousands of years. He wasn't just looking out for that particular generation at that time. And when Saul disobeyed the Most High, those nations came back hundreds of years later and enslaved us. And that's what the Most High was trying to save us from, brothers and sisters. See, and that's why we don't get it. We don't like to plan. We don't like to think ahead of time. We don't like to think further than 5 minutes. We just do. We are a very impulsive people. We got to get out of that. And if we expect to receive power, the brothers, then we're going to have to completely do a 360. The word of the Most High says in 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 3, "But I would have you know that the head of every man is Mashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Mashiach is Yahuwah," or Elohim. Now, let me make this very, very clear. When the Most High created woman, he created woman for the man. That's in the word. He created woman for the man to be able to bring on offsprings. But we messed that all up too. Now, when some women read this, they think that when the Most High restores order, that they're going to be slaves. Some women actually think this. This is not the case, brothers and sisters. Because if the brothers truly take on the priesthood that they were given, and if they follow the Torah, they would treat their women like queens. But I will tell you, the Most High is going to restore order. And it's not that I don't hate my people. It's just that I hate what they've become. I hate what the women have become. I hate what the men have become. There's disrespect on both spectrums, especially with the women these days, especially with these new generation of women. Just extremely, very disrespectful. Don't know how to talk to anyone. But the Most High is going to allow something to happen that is going to shut all of this wickedness down that's going on between our people. You're not going to like it either. And I'll tell you what, you better get ready for it. Because the way things are going to happen, it's not going to happen the way you think or the way we think it's going to happen. We're getting ready to go through some stuff, brothers, and this is just the icing on the cake. We haven't seen nothing yet. The Most High has always used the men as warriors. So you women claiming that you got a warrior spirit in you, you better get that out of you, because the Most High will destroy you if you even try to think like that. You're going to be there to support the men. But as soon as the men get their acts together, as soon as we get on board what the Most High has and has planned for us, everything is going to fall in place. And the Most High will restore order, brothers and sisters. Now, there's going to be some purging along with that restoration, but it's going to be restored. And it's going to happen in a way that we can't even imagine. So get ready for it. But unfortunately, many of our brothers, along with many of our women, are going to have to bite the dust because they refuse to repent and turn from their ways. Neither do they have any kind of inclination to turn from their ways. The word of the Most High says in Ezekiel chapter 9 and verse 4, and Elohim said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city, and smite, let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. So, brothers and sisters, we are the living temple. We are the sanctuary. But if we defile this sanctuary, the Most High will defile us and destroy us. So we better wake up and start realizing what we need to do and act in haste and act quickly, because time is running out. You're not going to be able to save all of your people. We're not going to be able to save all of our people. That's a given. That's a no-brainer. We already know that. All right. The word says, do not cast your swines to pearls. That means even to your own family members, because if you know that they're going to turn around and rend you, then don't be casting your pearls to them. That applies to one another. So brothers and sisters, those pearls are precious. Not everybody is going to receive those pearls. But the Spirit knows who to send to receive those pearls. And that's all you need to worry about. Don't worry about the ones who won't listen. You focus on the ones who are listening. And when the true men finally get their acts together, you're going to see power like we've never seen it before. I mean, like we've never seen it before. It's only a matter of time. Yes, the purging has to happen. It's going to happen. And many of our people are going to perish, going to die. But that's a no-brainer too, because we're seeing that already being played out. The Walking Dead. That's what we're seeing right now. You see, Zion is simple. All the wicked Jakes are going to have to be destroyed in order for the true Jakes to rise up. And once that happens, once the Most High does everything in his designated time, we are going to see power like we've never, ever seen it before. 2 Chronicles chapter 7 and verse 14 will come to pass. And with that being said, I say Shabbat Shalom and stay strong.
I gotta thank Yahweh for being the chosen seed of Israel. Here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Yah and the faith of Mashiach. Whoa, yeah. I gotta thank Yahweh for being the chosen seed of Israel. Here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Yah and the faith of the Mashiach. Yo, yeah, whoa. I'm here to encourage you, brothers and sisters, trying to paint to you a better picture. Everything I say, I back it up with the scriptures to get you out the matrix. It's been over 400 years of life. You gotta open up your eyes, 'cause there's so many reasons we in captivity. You gotta flee from the heathens. There is hope in our future, even though they trying to do us in. But we live to fight another day. Vengeance is Yah. We'll be praying for Yahweh. I gotta thank Yahweh for being the chosen seed of Israel. Here's the patience of the saints. Whoa. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Yah, and the faith of Mashiach. Oh, whoa, whoa, yeah, yeah. I gotta thank Yahweh for being the chosen seed of Israel. Here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Yah and the faith of the Mashiach. Yo, whoa, hey, hey, whoa, whoa. Do do da da da. Do we do we do we do da da. Do we do 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 da da. Do 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 da do. Be do da do 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 da 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 da. Do we do 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 da da da.